couldn't stop. And I read this silly book by Alan Carr, not the little guy who, managed the Village People in the caftan, the little fat guy, but no, this other guy, Alan Carr. And he wrote this book, and it's the only thing that made me stop. So it worked like crazy. But
the book made you stop? Like what?
The book made me stop.
What
I
was
read
in the
this
book?
book. It was the book called The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. And it's a silly title, right? And it was sad, my son gave it to me. He said, "Stop smoking, Dad. Here's this book." I left it on. I used to walk past the bookshelf and go, "Dumb book, dumb title," And then I finally, my doctor said, "You have first stage emphysema." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." He said, "Yeah, you got to cut the smoke." I said, "I better read this book." So I read the book and I stopped. Right? So it was, I think it was like neurolinguistic programming or something like that. You read it and you kind of self-hypnotize yourself. But it worked.
What did the book tell you?
It said, it didn't tell you you're bad, you're going to die. It didn't tell you all that sort of stuff. It was like, they had things like, maybe I'm blowing it, but they had a chapter where it says, okay, we focused on the negative aspects of smoking. Now we're going to talk about the good aspects of smoking in the next chapter. And then you turn the page and the page is empty, And it's just a trick. It's a mind trick. The whole thing was a mind trick, but it worked. And I don't know why it worked. But it was sort of like self-hypnosis while you're reading the book. And it wasn't a negative thing like, I got to stop this. It's bad. I'm scared. It wasn't even that. In fact, if I hadn't had the stem cells afterwards, my lungs completely healed from that, by the way.